Hi there. Before I get started on today's video, I just wanted to thank you for watching it, and I wanted to ask you something. If you watch this video and you enjoy it, I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. And if you are already a subscriber, you have no idea how thankful I would be if you could pass along a link to this video to anybody who you think would enjoy it. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because I'm trying to grow my channel, trying to grow my subscriber base. And there are basically three ways to grow a subscriber base. The first way is for the Google algorithm to elevate you somehow. And I don't know how to work the Google algorithm, and I don't think that the Google algorithm likes me very much, okay? The other way is to glom on to a bigger channel, to get some big YouTuber to endorse you. Now, I'm fortunate to know several very big YouTubers, but I've been hesitant to ask them to help me out in this direction because I think it's sort of like unfair. And I'd much prefer to grow my audience organically, which is, of course, the third way to do this, okay? Get people who watch my content to tell other people. And so that's why I'm asking you to do this. If you could please tell other people about my content, about my channel, I'd be eternally grateful. So, having said that, let's get started with this video. It's how to work a room. How to work a room is one of the most important abilities that you're ever going to master. It is right up there with learning how to drive, learning how to set up a corporation, having sex. I mean, it's right up there. It's an ability that will be crucial to your life, as crucial as having sex or driving a car. So you want to master this ability. Now, what do I mean when I say working a room? Okay, what I'm talking about is going into a room where there are people who will affect your interests, your business interests, your livelihood. You want to go into that room, and when you exit that room, after having interacted with most of the people in that room, they will have a strong positive impression of you and will want to see you or interact with you soon in the future. That's what I mean by working a room. That is a successful effort at working a room. Now notice, these aren't your friends, okay? There are a lot of people, foolish people, who think that the people that you work with, your peers, your competitors, your bosses, your clients, that they're your friends. They're not your friends. The people in your business life are just people that you know, and they affect your interests for good or ill. And so your job is to be friendly with them, but not friends. They are not your friends, and they never will be, okay? I have lived a long time. I have been extremely friendly with a lot of people who affected my interests, but the times that I have tried to make friends with people who are my work colleagues, it has ended badly because they're not your friends. You run over a homeless guy at 3 a.m. in the morning, and you're sitting in the police station and trying to rustle up some cash to post bail. You can't call these people. You can call your friends, your true friends, but not these people that I'm talking about, not the people that you are going to interact with when you work a room, okay? So, what do you do? How do you work a room? It's very simple. Excuse me. The first thing you do when you want to work a room is you decide who is it in that room that you have to interact with and why. You make a list, okay? Say for instance, you're going to a country club this Saturday, okay? Saturday, 7 p.m. And there are going to be a bunch of people there from your line of work for some reason. It doesn't matter. Say there are going to be 40 people, 20 men and 20 women. And of those people, you know, some of them are going to be couples and some of them are going to be singles, but 40 people, 20 and 20, right? Okay, so before that, you draw up a list. Yeah. You draw up a little list, you know, and you write down the people that you're most interested in talking to, okay? You make a list, and next to each name, you say, what do you want to achieve from that interaction? Okay. Now let's say for the sake of argument that in this group of people that you're going to meet at the country club at 7 p.m. on Saturday, there are going to be 40 people there and you want to interact with 5 of them. Mr. 1, Mr. 2, Mr. 3, Mr. 4, and Mr. 5. Okay. Now let's say for the sake of argument that 2 of them are potential clients. One a small client, but one a very big client. Say the third and fourth are a couple of your peers. Okay, and the fourth is, say, a low-level person, somebody beneath you on the totem pole. It doesn't matter why. Okay, maybe you want to recruit them. Maybe you want to hire them. Okay, so you have these 5 people. Now, what do? You draw up this list of Misters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and next to each name, you write down physically, not type in a computer, write down with your own handwriting what you want to achieve. Now, why is this? Because when you write it down with your own hand, you're going to pay more attention and you're going to focus more. Okay? You write it up on a computer, you're going to diddle around, you're not going to pay attention. Writing it out on a discrete slip of paper, like this, which is what I usually do actually. You know, that's why I have all these little, you know, all these snowflakes of papers all over the place. Okay? It helps you to focus what you're trying to achieve. Okay? Now, let's say for the sake of argument that Mr. 1 is a big client. And what you want to do is you want to have a sales meeting with him next week. Okay? You want to get to meet him in his office, either yourself alone or with your team, and you want to pitch him your business. And it's important because Mr. 1 could potentially represent, say, 15% of your yearly income. I'm just saying it just to emphasize how big of a client this guy could potentially be, right? So Mr. 1 is your priority. He's the most important guy at this meeting, right? Then say Mr. 2 is another client, but he's going to represent maybe 5% of your sales. And maybe you have an ongoing relationship. Maybe he's buying from you already. Okay? So you want to meet him, but you don't want to meet him to do a pitch. You just want to meet him to sort of like see if everything's going okay, if he's happy with your services towards him, that sort of thing. Okay? That's Mr. 2. Now, Misters 3 and 4 are competitors, peers, people on your level doing more or less what you are doing, right? Now, how do you want to interact with them? You want to touch base at this gathering and get information about your market, okay? Because the most important thing that you can do is always be on the lookout for people who have information about your market, about your industry. And who better than your competitors? Okay? And what's going to happen, of course, is that most people in any line of work will be more than happy to tell you about the problems they are having in their business. The problems your peers have are the same problems that you either have, are having, or will have. So you want to talk to your peers in your industry and find out what ails them, what afflicts them. Okay? What about their market, your market, is making their life difficult. Okay? So, Mr. 1, big client, you know, big whale. You want to land him. Mr. 2, he's a long-standing client, small, but you want to keep him happy. I mean, he represents 5% of your yearly sales, so you want to keep him happy. Misters 3 and Misters 4 are competitors. You want to find out about the market. And Mr. 5, say, is, a talented young guy that you want to hire for your team. Okay? So those are the 5 people that we've got, okay, as you walk into this room, right? Okay, so you walk into this room. Now, the first thing that you have to have in your mind, okay, and always have this on your mind, is that you are not going to drink or take any kind of drug or anything of the sort when you're working a room, Okay? When you work a room, you want to be stone cold sober. Okay? Now, most people at social events are going to be drinking. They're going to have, a glass of whatever. They're going to be drinking, and you are going to get a glass, but it's not going to have alcohol. This is something I've learned that's really primo. You go to the bartender and you ask for orange juice on ice with a splash of water. Now, why? You're going to ask, why a splash of water? Why dilute orange juice? I mean, fine orange juice, but why dilute it? It's going to look like a screwdriver, okay? Diluted orange juice on ice looks like a screwdriver. A screwdriver, of course, is orange and vodka. Vodka looks like water. It has more or less the same consistency. Now, something I have noticed over the years, I'm sure some psychologist or somebody clever, more clever than I, can explain why this is so, but I have noticed that whenever I go to a social gathering and I am not drinking, and it is obvious that I am not drinking, either because I don't have a glass in hand or because I obviously have some sort of fruit juice, right? The people who are drinking sort of like, they're not tense, but they're a little bit guarded, see? But when everybody's drinking, they get relaxed because they figure that everybody's drinking, so everybody's as loose as they are, okay? You want to give the impression that you are as loose as they are, okay? Now, you don't want to be drinking because you want to be sharp on the ball, right? You drink even one glass, even just a sip, and your performance decreases. I don't care what your name is. You give me some bullshit that, I have a hollow leg, I can drink as much as I want. Fuck that. That's just bullshit. That's just self-deception. I don't have any time or patience for self-deception. One sip of alcohol will lower your performance, and I don't care what your name is or what excuse you have, so don't drink. Not even a sip, okay? You go to that barman, you tell him, I want in a tall glass, for like a regular screwdriver, I want orange juice on ice with a splash of water. And even, put the little, whatever decoration the bartender has for a screwdriver, and you take that pseudo screwdriver and you hold it, and that's the drink that you're going to be drinking all night, okay? Now, what you do, but that's just to set the scene. Now, you walk into the room. You haven't gotten your drink yet, okay? You walk into the room. How do you walk into a room? Okay, there are a lot of ideas. A lot of guys say, you have to walk in big. Others say, no, you have to go like under the radar and scope out the scene and shit like that. This is what works for me, okay? When I walk into a room and there are 40 people, now how are they going to be distributed? They're going to be distributed in knots of people. Foursomes here, foursomes there, a threesome. There's many twosomes, that's very standard. Groups merging and melding, maybe one group over there, that's like 6, 7, maybe even 8 people, talking or focused on some very charismatic man or perhaps a very rich man, okay, who's dominating the attention, sort of like a big sun bends the space-time continuum, right? That's sort of like how it works, insofar as a big personality or a big wallet, right? Okay, so you have these different knots of people, right? Now, when you walk in, you want to zero in on a knot of people that satisfies 2 conditions. Number 1, they know you well, and number 2, none of the people that you want to interact with are there in that group, okay? Now, why? Very simple. When you walk into the room, you're cold, like an athlete, okay? You watch tennis players, before the big match, the 2 players, Federer and Nadal, right? They step onto the court and they start hitting the ball back and forth. They warm up, okay? You need to warm up, okay? Just like tennis players warm up and hit the ball around a few times before the match actually starts, you want to warm yourself up to working the room. And the way you warm up is by going to a group of people whom you know and who do not matter to you that evening. Okay? There are people that's just friends, and you're just going to shoot the breeze. Maybe it's one of those competitors I told you about, Mr. 3 and 4, right? who you're going to get intelligence from them. Maybe one of them is there, because those people you want to have a good impression, but your mission really is to get information from them. Okay, so but you see my point. You don't want to go to Misters 1 and 2 who are clients. No. You want to warm up first. Okay, now you go to this group, right, and say it's a foursome, and say that Jane is there. Jane is somebody that you've known for ages. She's a great person. You like her. She likes you. You have very positive vibe. How do you do it? This is what I do. When I see Jane, I go, Jane! Jane, I miss you. It's been so long. Even if you saw her yesterday. It's been so long. And you just give her a big hug. Big bombastic hug. Let the room know that you are there. And you know what's going to happen with Jane? She is going to see you and she's going to say, Coach, ha 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 ha. Right? And she's going to hug you back. Right? So you hug Jane, very flamboyant, and you can just add on the hyperbole. Just like, Jane, when are you gonna run away with me? Oh God, Jane can weigh 300 pounds and look like a demented pig, But you say that shit, and everybody in the room is going to hear you, and subliminally they are going to feel, he has arrived, because that's the point of it. You want everybody in the room to know that you are there, and yet at the same time, you don't want to impose on people. You just want to make a big scene, quote unquote, with this friend of yours in this very intimate way. And she's going to respond to you, of course, right? And as she responds to you and you respond to her and everybody hears this, everybody's going to turn and smile, because whenever you see somebody happy to see somebody else, you smile. It's a natural thing. It's like when you smile at a baby. Okay? Have you noticed when you're at the airport, you see some couple running towards each other and they hug each other and you smile naturally as you pass them by. You have nothing to do with that interaction, but it cheers you up to see other people happy. It's a natural, empathetic thing that human beings have. You go up to Jane and you greet her flamboyantly, loudly, happily. I mean, you have to be genuine here. I mean, you're not faking it. You're happy to see Jane, right? See, you do that and everybody's going to, the whole room is going to sense that you are there. Even if people don't, on a conscious level, know that you're there. It's like the vibe in the room will know that you're there. And this is a good thing, okay? Because you want them to know that you're there, okay? So, you go up to Jane, the big flamboyant hug, the whole thing, and you start talking to Jane and the 3 other people with her, okay? Doesn't matter, men, women, doesn't matter. To the other 3, you shake hands with the men, you give a polite kiss to the women or a hug or whatever, depending on how well you know them. If you don't know them, you're just very warm, always friendly, always with a smile, firm handshake. If your palms are sweaty, dry them. Okay, always. You never, ever want to shake hands with sweaty palms, because men instinctively despise men whose palms sweat. Instinctively, and they will not trust you and not want to do business with you. If you have to put talcum powder on your hands to prevent your palms from sweating, do so. Okay? That's something that you have to, master on your own. But anyway, so you're there with that first knot of people. You don't have a drink. You're standing there with Jane. Maybe your arm around her, hey, Janie, and oh, who's this? And oh, it's great to see you. And you're talking to this little knot of people, and you're chatting with them. And your goal in this first interaction is to scope out the room, to see where the 5 people you want to talk to are, where they are, who are they talking to, okay? Of course, you're not going to know what they're talking about, but you want to see them, you want to see where are they, here, okay. That's your goal with that first little knot of people. You want to stay with that first knot of people not more than 5 minutes, okay? And this is how you're going to structure that first interaction with that first knot of people. You came in, you had a big hello, a big intro with Jane, right? Now, after that big intro, you listen to somebody else talk, you listen, and then you interject something. Now, here's the key. Your interjection has to be funny or positive or amazing somehow, okay? Something that is, of course, apropos to what is being discussed, whatsoever that may be. And you have to be memorable and leave a good impression. That's why I love jokes. I love a little witticism. Something that will give people a smile, see? Because what you're going to do is that you're going to be with Jane and those 3 people. They're going to interact, they're going to say something, and they're going to talk about football, and then you're going to say something witty about football, for instance. something witty, and when they laugh, and you're laughing with them, you break away from them and say, I'm going to get a drink. Okay? This is what you always do with every knot of people. When you have interacted with that knot of people, be they 2 people, be they 10, you interact with them, and then when you say something funny, when they are laughing at something that you said, laughing with you, of course, not at you, when they are laughing with you at something that you said, that is the moment when you walk away. This is a rule every comedian knows, you know. Always keep them wanting more. Always leave them with a smile on their face. Okay? When you break away, when you've said something funny, even if you still want to interact a little bit more, you leave. Because if you sense that you're not going to be saying anything funny again, leave. It's better to leave early than to overstay your welcome. Always, never forget that. Better to leave early than to overstay your welcome. Okay? Okay, so you said something funny. They're laughing. Wah, ha, ha, ha. Oh, yeah. And they're saying, oh, you're such a card. You're so funny, blah, blah. And you say, wait, let me go and get a drink. And you leave them behind. In any other knot of people, you're going to say, oh, let me freshen up my drink, or I got to go pee, you know, and you say, I got to go pee. Nobody's going to think less of you. It's going to be funny. It's going to add to the joke, okay, which is sort of ridiculous if you think about it on an objective level, but people find it funny when you just outright say, oh, I'm laughing so hard, I got to go pee. They'll laugh harder, okay, and it'll give you the perfect excuse to move away from that group and go to the next group, the next knot of people, okay? So you interacted with Jane, you made some joke, made them laugh, you leave, you went to get your drink, your orange juice with a splash of water, you turn around and you start floating through the party looking at the targets that you have in mind. You have 5 targets, right? So you're holding your drink and sipping your drink and scoping out the room and trying to find out who you're going to talk to, okay? Say Mr. 1, right? Okay. Now, I told you that there's the big way, the flamboyant entrance. You know, hey, Jane, how's it going? Now, the other way to enter a group of people, a knot of people, okay, is the under way, okay? It's the subtle way. It's this is practiced. I've learned it over the years, and I'll tell you how it is. See, when there's a knot of people, a circle of people, say for the sake of argument that there are 5 people, right? Now, when you join a new knot of people, you never speak when somebody is telling a story or a joke or an anecdote. You never do that. You never interrupt to join a new group. If there's a group that you want to join and somebody's talking, if you interrupt them, that person will resent you. The person who's speaking will resent you. That person who is speaking is more likely not a more dominant personality. At any given time, the more dominant personalities are speaking. A dominant personality who resents you is not going to want to interact with you later, or is going to be like, oh, this fucker, you know, I was telling this great story about when I went to Africa and the fucker interrupted me in the middle of it. So fuck this guy, okay? Now, they're not going to say that. And it won't even rise to the level of being able to articulate that feeling, but they'll feel it. And that little negativity towards you will go down. Okay, so you never interrupt a group of people, a circle of people, when somebody's talking. You do something much different and better, which is this. Say, you know, you have a circle of people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? They're in a circle, right? Now say here, where my finger is, there's a guy talking, right? Now you're walking here, you know. Now what do? Do you break into this group? No, you go around this group until you're opposite the guy talking, okay? Now, but outside of the group, right? Now, when a guy is talking, what do? You look at him as you wedge your way into the group between obviously 2 other people, right? Now, what's going to happen when you wedge your way into a group while you are staring directly at the person speaking? You know what will happen? And this is very natural, and try it out for yourself. The 2 men who are here, who are blocking you, they will sense you trying to wedge in, they will turn to you, see that you are looking straight at the speaker, and they will move aside for you. They themselves will integrate you into a group. And this is a perfectly natural thing, and you will find it all the time. All the time. And you know how you can test it out to prove that, to show you that what I'm saying is true? Very simple. Go to a crowded shopping mall or the airport or someplace like that where there's a big crowd, right? And stare straight ahead, directly ahead as you walk. You're going to find that the people who are coming at you, see you and see that you are not looking at them but are looking straight ahead, they're going to part like the fucking Red Sea. It's a natural human impulse or a natural human thing that they do. I don't know why, but I've done it enough to know. You look straight ahead and the people move aside. You will only rarely have to say, excuse me. And usually it'll be because the person just happened to be looking in a different direction. Okay, if they are looking at you, if they see you, that you are looking at a point in the distance, they will move aside. If a group of people, a circle of people, see that you are paying attention to the speaker, they will naturally and out of politeness step aside to integrate you into the group. And all of a sudden, rather than being outside some group, you're in that group. Okay, and these two guys to either side who stepped aside will tacitly be giving you permission to join the group. You see? It's a very subtle thing, but very easy. It's easy to master. Okay, so that's how you join a group stealthily. Stealthily, but you know, openly. Okay, this isn't like secret mission shit. Okay, this isn't mission impossible. Okay, this is just normal social interaction that you have to master. Okay, now when you go into a group, when you wedge yourself into a group, and you're talking to the guy, you're looking straight at the guy, you know what's going to happen? And the reason you want to be directly across from him, you know, in that little circle of people, okay, because if he's here, right? And you come here and you're looking directly at him, what will he do quite naturally? See, when you're telling a story, where does your eyes move? You're talking to this person here, here, here. You're looking around you at the knot of people around you. You're glancing at them so that you can see that they are paying attention to you, right? But if somebody comes directly at you, your eyes are going to naturally fall on them and look back at them. And merely by virtue of you staring at the speaker, you will all of a sudden be subtly and almost subliminally raised up within that little knot of people. Okay? Because you are the prime listener to the speaker. Okay? It's a subtle thing and it's very true. It just works. Okay? That's how you stealthily join a group, a knot of people. Okay? By staring at the speaker. And if somebody else interjects, you don't interrupt, you swivel your attention right at them and you subtly turn your body towards this second speaker and make it so that the guy who's over here has to sort of like scoot over, because you always want to be directly ahead or have the feeling of being directly ahead of whoever's speaking in any knot of people. Because when you do that, okay, you are the prime audience for anything that anybody says. You do that to the second guy, and the third guy who's standing over here, for instance, he's not going to talk to him. He's going to talk to you. He's going to push your shoulder so that you turn towards him. You're going to become the number one spectator in a knot of people. You see? It's very, very simple. Okay? And it's not like a big thing, because there are a lot of assholes, okay, just dickheads, who feel that they have to like boom, boom, just like shove their way in, like, here I am, I'm John, I'm big, fucking moron, right? Moron. It's subtle, it's with discretion, okay? It's with a look, looking in the right direction, paying attention, encouraging people, okay? When somebody's talking, what do you say to them? You nod. You don't say anything, you nod. And then sometimes they say, yeah, that's so true. And they say something and you say, that happened to me. But you don't tell them how it happened to you. You just say, that happened to me, and leave it there. They'll fill it up, okay? Being a strong listener has enormous advantages when working a room. If you are a strong listener, focused, paying attention, okay, people will naturally respond to you and they will naturally like you, because everybody loves it when they are listened to. Okay, it's a natural thing. Okay, so that's how you subtly, stealthily become a part of the group and become the number one listener of a little knot of people. Okay, now these are the simple techniques that you can apply to every knot of people. Okay, and you were stealthy and you were a good listener, right? And at some point you're going to be able to say something. If you've built enough goodwill with 2 or 3 people in that little knot of people, anything you say with a smile, they'll interpret it as a joke and they'll laugh, which gives you the opportunity to leave. When you leave and you didn't say much except that little witticism at the end or that little funny thing as you go off, you know, they'll all say the same thing. Gee, what a great guy. Okay? Now, you work the room, you go through around the room to every little knot of people. Okay? You go to every little knot of people in the room, even pairs. You never overstay your welcome with a man-woman pair. Okay? Very crucial. Even if it's somebody important to you. Okay, well, actually, especially if it's somebody important to you. One of those 5 people, Misters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that are important to you. If you see Misters 1, 2, 3, or 5 with a woman, don't fucking interrupt. You know, just slide in and, hey, how's it going? Great to see you. Oh, you know, I had a rough drive here. You know, traffic was horrible, but hey, let me get a drink and we'll talk later. Because if a guy is with a girl alone, okay, unless it's obviously not a romantic possibility, but if there is even a slight romantic possibility, you move away. You don't want to crimp his style, okay? No guy is going to like it if you like, hi there, and you know, I mean, think about it yourself, in your own situation, okay? You're trying to nail some girl, right? And some guy you know wants to talk to you. Fuck him, right? You don't want to talk to him, you want to talk to the girl, right? So yeah, think here, right? Okay, so this brings me to the next thing, the Mr. Sticky Man, let's call it, okay? Mr. Sticky Man. You know, you go into a party and there's like some, usually it's a shy guy, you know, who doesn't have much personality and he knows you. And he comes up to you and he sticks to you, you know? He's like, hey, how's it going? And you're talking and he's like, you know, a little bit of a loser, you know? He doesn't have much force of personality, you know, introverted, something like that. And basically what's going on is he's afraid. Okay, so he's going to latch on to you, try to stick to you, right? And Mr. Sticky Man is going to try to stick to you, and he's going to totally crimp your style. He's going to, you know, fuck up, because when you're working a room, you want to work it alone. Okay, you don't want, you know, a little sticky man. No, no, no. You're a lone wolf. You're a lone hunter. Okay, some women, girlfriends or wife or whatever, you know, are smart enough to help their man in his task of working a room. That is not always the case. Some women are kind of stupid this way and don't realize that their job is to assist their man in working a room, okay? So before you work a room, you gotta know whether the woman you have, your girlfriend or your wife, if she's gonna help you work a room or she's gonna be a hindrance. If she's gonna be a hindrance, leave her at home. Go solo to work some room. If it means that you have a fight, fight, you know? I mean, just make it clear, because see, a woman who doesn't know how to assist you when you're working a room will make you fail. Do you want that? No, of course not. So leave her at home, okay? Now, Mr. Sticky Man. Mr. Sticky Man, see, he's usually somebody that you know, maybe a competitor, maybe a client even, okay? Somebody, you know, but you don't want to tell him off, okay? Why would you do that? See? Because a lot of guys are real stupid and they figure that they don't have a problem telling somebody off. There's no reason to tell somebody off when you don't need to. You just have to maneuver him in a position where he wants to leave you. When he doesn't want to stick to you, he wants to stick to somebody else. See? Huh? Right. So what you have to do is very simple. See, when you sense that you have a sticky man who's going to crimp your style and he's going to follow you like a barnacle, you know, stuck on you, and, you know, like any barnacle is just going to drag on you and not help you get to where you want to go insofar as working the room, this is what you do. Say there's Jane, and let's say that Jane is a fairly attractive woman. You know what you do? You put your arm around Sticky Man, pull him closer, and guide him towards Jane. Or anybody else that Sticky Man prefers to talk to rather than you, right? And, you know, say, Jane, here's Mr. Sticky Man. He's a great guy. He loves you. He loves you work. And you shove Sticky Man at Jane or whomever, right? Sticky Man is going to glom on to Jane and you move on. You move on. See? That's how you deal with sticky men. Okay? You don't tell them off. Why would you? Why antagonize somebody? Okay? You don't say, hey, you know, I'm really working a room, and so, you know, I'd really appreciate it if you just leave me alone. It's just going to piss him off, or at least, you know, hurt feelings. Why would you do that? You don't do that. Okay? You take him to somebody else, glom him on to somebody else, move on your way, and go on to your next little circle of friends. Now, in a party, in a cocktail party, in any kind of gathering like this, you know, it's going to be a couple of hours, right? Hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, right? So it's 40 people, right? So you see, you're going to have the chance to do 2 full laps around the room, touching base with everybody twice before the night is over, okay? What does that mean? You see, in your first lap, you're not concerned with touching base with the 5 guys that we've been talking about here, okay? Your concern is to make sure that they get the positive impression of you, whether you talk to them or not, okay? Like for instance, we were talking before about that group of, that knot of men that you walked up to and one of them was talking and you were like a really good listener and then there was somebody else talking, right? Okay, so let's just, for the sake of argument, say that Mr. 1 was the guy talking and you paid strict attention, and then when the conversation moved to somebody else, you paid attention to them and paid attention to them, right? And then you moved on with a little parting witticism to, you know, assist in your escape, right? Mr. 1 and you didn't actually talk now, did you? No, you did not. But you had that connection, right? That eye-to-eye thing, right? Now, by having that eye-to-eye thing, that connection, what'll happen is that when you do your second lap, he'll be happy to see you because he got that good vibe of you the first time around. The second time around, he's gonna have that good feeling about you, and he's gonna say, "Hey, how's it going?" And you're gonna say, "Hey, Mr. 1, how's it going? Listen, you know, I can't talk long." That's the thing you always say at the beginning of any interaction. "I can't talk long, I gotta go. But you know, I was really hoping that this week we can talk because I really want to meet with you about whatever," okay? Now, chances are pretty good that Mr. 1 is going to say okay. Now, why is he going to say okay? Because see, you had a positive interaction before and you didn't ask him for anything before. And now you're making it clear that you have to go, you can't talk long, but meeting him, talking with him is an important thing. And he's going to want to continue that good vibe with you, and so he will likely say yes, okay? He will, I would venture to say 50% of the times he will say yes right on the spot, and you say, "Great, you know, when's good for you? Because I can't Monday, Tuesday, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm all yours." Words to that effect. Always put the ball on his court like that. You say Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, shit, I mean, how the fuck is he going to say no to that? Unless he leaves the city for some reason, and then he'll say, "Well, I have to leave the city, but I'll be back on Monday." Monday, I can do it, you say. Even if you have a brain surgery on Monday, you can do it, you know? You nail down the date. If he gives you the opening, if he says, "Yeah, I'd love to meet you," you say, "Great, when?" Now, if he doesn't say that, if he says something, "Let's coordinate with email or a message or something like that," "Great, I will send you an email." But you know, you always want to be closing. Always want to be closing, and closing a specific date. The best thing you can do is to get a specific day and time, okay, in that conversation, and say, "Great, I'll send you an email confirmation tomorrow," okay? And you send an email confirmation, and that'll be that. And you got it. You're set, okay? Now, if he doesn't say right then and there, yes, you know, email, yeah. But my point, see, if you interact with this, unless he really doesn't want to see you for a specific reason, okay, 9 times out of 10, you're going to land something. You're going to be able to have a meeting with the guy in the next week or the week after that or whenever is convenient, whenever is possible, and you'll be fine because you didn't glom on to him. This is something that I've learned with hard experience, okay? When you have a client, you naturally want to stay in the room with him until you wear him down, until you get him to say yes. And that is a mistake. You don't want to be in the room wearing him down until he says yes, because he will never be worn down. He'll just be resentful of you. He won't want to say yes. He will want to say, "Get the fuck away from me." Okay? That's what he'll want to say. So you have to make him want to be with you. You have to make that first round of the room smooth and just wonderful. And so when you come the second time around briefly and say that you have to leave, he'll be like, "No, don't go, let's meet." That's what you want. You want him to be chasing you, okay? And you get him to chase you by being scarce. I guess this is a long-winded way of saying that, yeah, you just want to be scarce. You want to be there, but scarce, accessible but always leaving. Okay? Now that's how you get client number 1 to accede to the business meeting. Client number 2, Mr. 2, okay, who's the 5% client that is ongoing and things are going well. Well, what you want to do is you want to smooth it with him, right? That's what you want to do. How's it going? Everything. And at one point, there could be a problem with Mr. 2. Okay, it could be that Mr. 2 it's just not working out with him for whatever reason. So what you do is you pull him aside and make a twosome in that little room that you're working, and you say, look, I know that there have been problems, but you know what I'd like to do? I'd like us to meet next week in your office at your convenience, and I'm going to bring along, Joe, part of my team who's in charge of the problem that you've been having, and we're going to iron this out. And we're going to iron it out in a permanent way. And I want to hear everything that is bothering you about this situation, and I'm going to be there, and Joe is going to be there, and we're going to take down everything that is a problem, and we're going to fix it in a way that you will never have to worry about this ever again. See? Now when you do that, when you say that make that kind of statement in a room, in a social gathering, it has a bigger impact, okay? When you get ahead of the problem, it has a big impact, okay? That's what you want to be doing when you're working a room with an ongoing client. Now, when you've been working the room and talking to people, you talk to 3 and 4 who were those peers of yours who gave you some information about how the state of the market is going. Always pump them and never tell them how you are doing. How are you doing? I'm doing great. Oh, if they say that they're having a problem with something, they say, oh yeah, I've been having a problem with that too, even if you haven't, okay? Because it encourages them, okay? Like, on YouTube, for instance, everybody bitches and moans about demonetization. Yeah, sure, me too. I have all my videos that get demonetized all the time. Actually, none of my videos get demonetized. I don't know why. I don't tell people about this, I just, keep my mouth shut. And whenever any of my peers bitch and moan about demonetization, yeah, me too, even though, no, but, my point, see? You don't offer up information about your business, but you try to get as much information about others who are your peers, who are facing similar problems or are currently facing problems that you will have in the future. You try to get as much information from them as possible. Okay? Now, the fifth guy is the young guy that perhaps you want to hire or you want to be associated with him somehow. A guy that you recognize that, he's a good resource to have on your team, right? Now that guy, this is how you handle him. We were talking about sticky man, who sticks to you and won't leave you alone, right? Okay. Now, the up-and-comer, let's call him that, the up-and-comer, see, you want to stick to him. You want to bring him with you, okay? You want him to be a barnacle on your ship for just a little while, because you want to bring him around so that he sees the scope. He sees your reach. He sees that you're somebody and not a nobody. Okay, that's what you want to do, because see, talking to a guy who could potentially work for you, that's just bullshit. It's just talk, blah, 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 blah. But if he sees you interacting with people, big people, like say Mr. 1, Mr. 2, he sees how you operate. He sees that Mr. 1, Mr. 2 like you, want to be a part of your team, want to work with you, then this Mr. 5, who is a potential employee, he'll want to work for you. He'll want to be a part of your team. He'll see you as somebody more important, because we never get a sense of social validation of somebody just because of what they say. We get the sense of social validation by other cues, by what other people say, okay? And it's just a fact of life, okay? It's just like with women, see? A woman will look at you if you're just standing there all by yourself and she's like, he's kind of, But if it turns out that your girlfriend is a supermodel, that same woman will say, well, God, he's so hot. Not because you're hot, but because you're with a supermodel, okay? And the girl will say, well, he dates a supermodel, so he's hot, he's attractive. The supermodel is with him, so he's hot. You could look like, a big old pile of shit, and she'll think that you're hot just because you happen to be with a supermodel, because that's human nature, okay? You are the company that you keep, right? Okay, so number 5, that's what's going to happen. So he's going to sense that you're somebody worthwhile because of who you're hanging out with. Okay? Now, don't ever exit a room with the big, so long and farewell to you all. No. You always want to be going off in a rush, and you're always going someplace better. But you don't tell people that it's better. You just say, oh, I have something to do. Leave it vague. And they'll fill in the picture, the blanks all by themselves. And they'll always think that you're going someplace better if you don't tell them. If you tell them, oh yeah, I'm going to go to the movies with my girlfriend, they're going to be like, oh, what a loser. But oh, I have to go to this thing. Oh, it's just nothing, right? And you tell them that. They're always going to think that it's a better party because that's human nature. Again, and you work that. You work that. You let them, you allow them to think what they will. Okay? So, you always leave people wanting more. You always. You never overstay your welcome. I've said it before, the secret to a long life is knowing when it's time to go. You have no idea how often people fuck up by overstaying their welcome. When you have achieved your objective, when you have achieved the things that you wanted to achieve insofar as the context you wanted to make, the meetings you wanted to generate in a particular room, and you leave, people will look forward to seeing you. But if you achieve everything that you wanted in a room and then you stay, it sours the interactions. Again, this is voice of experience. This is hard experience here, okay? I'm sure that psychologists can explain why. I can only tell you that it is the case, that it is true, and I know it from the inference, okay? If you stay too long in some place, in some social interaction, it just sours like milk and people don't want you around and it stinks, you stink, and they just want you gone, okay? You always want to have them wanting more. Now, I've gone on for fucking 45 minutes on this shit, okay? So you see, I mean, there's tons more that I haven't covered because it's just a lot of ground to cover. Working a room is as much a science as an art, okay? And ultimately, the only way you get good at it is practice, okay? I suggest you practice it every time you can, okay? And practice it in ways where it doesn't matter, okay? For instance, a good way to do this, I mean, maybe you don't go to church, maybe you don't even believe in God, but go to church meetings of whatever, okay? And interact with those groups, because it's not going to matter. It's some church group that is like, I don't know, it doesn't matter what it is, right? You go there and you can practice working a room. Okay, you always want to be practicing this because it is a skill. It is an ability that, you know, improves with practice, like carpentry, like driving a car, like being good at sex. Everything improves with practice, and most especially this. It matters, okay? It matters a lot. If you feel that you don't have the nerve to do it, then you're just going to have to work harder and do it and overcome your nerves and your fear, okay? Because you will not achieve anything in life without knowing how to work a room.